Hey, it's Adele from Let's Get Inky, and this is a video that I have been wanting to film for a long time. I asked you guys a few months ago, I think it was, for some Q&A questions. I was going to originally just keep it as a magazine harvest Q&A type video, but then I couldn't help myself and I turned it into a bulk journal video. So we do complete several pages after I've found a few images here, and I have sped it up so that you don't have to watch me flipping through a magazine for an hour. So what I'm doing today is I've grabbed a few magazines. Now, some of these are new ones that I've never had before. I showed at the front I had Frankie, Flow and Uppercase. I've never had Flow or Uppercase before. I got them as part of my Melbourne haul over on Let's Get Inky, and I freaking love them. I dare say this, I think I like them even more than Frankie. I know, I love Frankie, but lately I haven't been able to find as many usable images as I used to for what I use them for, if that even sentence makes a iota of sense. But I absolutely loved, I think it was Uppercase was my favorite out of all of them. It was just, the pictures were so bright and artsy, which I really liked. So when I'm looking for magazine images, the first thing that I'm drawn to is I love people because I love to use like figurines and like models. You know, some of these magazines, what the models are wearing is so bizarre, but it makes for a really cool focal image on an art journal page. So that's what I look for first of all. Anything bright and colourful, like that page that I just pulled out with all of the colourful books, I thought would be really handy to cut up as strips in and use as a background. Anything that I can use as a collage piece in the background so I can tear up into little tiny pieces. I also look for items that I could possibly use in my en masse journal, which I'm hoping to film a process video and put it up in June. I think that's when I scheduled one for, because I really need to give myself a deadline to work on that, because I do forget about it. It's something that I do forget about, and I wish I remembered more readily. But I also love Flow in particular, has a lot of little pull-out pieces. So it has like postcards, and these are little posters that were perforated. I thought they'd be really fun. Even though I'm not a butterfly kind of gal, I thought it would be good to use as a background. I also love to find images of things that I can write over the top of. So you saw me pull out a very green foresty page before, and I actually used that on my 100-day project, which, oh boy, guys, we need to talk about the 100-day project. I'm going to film a video just debriefing about that shortly, because we're not 100-daying anymore. It's a long story, but I just pick anything that takes my fancy. Daphne's Diary is another one, but I don't think it's as much my style as the others. It's a little more vintagey and drawn, and I'm more drawn to the bolder, more colourful pieces out of Uppercase and Flow, I think. So what I do, the biggest tip that I can give when you are looking for magazine images is to just rip out the whole page. Don't try and intricately fussy cut things while you're working through it. Just rip out the whole page, and then you can go through them later on like that. It's also fun to then pull this big pile of papers over to the couch and cut them out in front of the TV while you're watching a movie, and it's much easier to do things in like a bulk binge. So I'll rip out all of the pages that I like first, and then I'll do all of the cutting another time. So what I'm doing now is I went through my Use It Up journal, which is now finished. I'm very excited about that. I'll do a flip through for YouTube very soon. But I'm going through, and I had a look at some of the background colours that I was already working with in my Use It Up journal, and picked some pieces that I thought could work with the colours that I already had in my backgrounds. So I'm going through and picking things that I like, and now it's time to get started. Now this is a page that I have been holding off on doing because I just freaking love it. I absolutely love the colors. I wish it wasn't so bumpy, because that was an issue that I definitely had with these processes, is that a lot of them had pages that already had modeling paste, texture paste on them, and it was quite difficult to stick things to that, because it made this girl look like she had poor lumps and bumps where she didn't have lumps and bumps before. And so I would recommend, if you are doing some magazine sticking, to avoid putting it over modeling paste, because it's quite tricky. So while I'm working through here, I'm going to pull up some of the questions that you guys asked before, and I'm just going to go through and have a little bit of a chat with you. So let's see. My first question is from Georgia, and she asked, what craft project have you never tried but wanted to? Ooh, that was a good one, because there's a few things that I've dabbled in that I have abandoned that I really wish that I had completed. So first of all would be crocheting. I know it's not craft, but it's still crafty, I think. But I've probably got a collection of, I would say, maybe 50 granny squares that I crocheted ages ago, years and years ago, and I've never done anything with them. I would love to turn them into a cushion, but I don't know how to stitch them together. So if any crocheters out there know a really simple YouTube tutorial to follow, or any blog person to follow that has nice simple instructions for someone who's not very experienced in wool or yarn, then let me know, because that's one thing that I would love to get back into. Something that I've never ever tried is acrylic pouring, where you put the paint in the cup and then you flip it on a canvas. I bought all the stuff for it, but I've never done it. So that's something that I definitely would love to try at some point. Maybe I might challenge myself to do that one day. It'd be really fun to make embellishments or background papers or something out of acrylic pouring. Ooh, yes, I like that. So next up, we've got a question from Sam, and Sam said, how can I get back into crafting, mainly scrapbooking again, after being too busy with work life to make time for it? I hear you. I went through that stage definitely when I was teaching, and I took a little bit of a gap, and it was very hard to get back into it. My tip is to minimize the supplies that you're working with. I think a lot of the time we get so overwhelmed by how much either stuff we have or how many choices we have. So if you were able to make yourself like even a little couch scrapping kit, where you just grabbed some of your favorite sticker sheets or some of your favorite products and supplies, put them in a little box, a little tub, and focus just on those things. If there was something that you knew of exactly in your craft stash that you could go and get for a project, of course, feel free to use that. But I find that if you just limit your supplies so that you've only got, 5 sticker sheets to choose from, a handful of other chunky embellishments, and even limit yourself to a couple of paper pads if you've got paper pads, or just pull out maybe 10, 15 of your favorite scrapbook papers and focus on just working through those first, because it can get very overwhelming when you have a little bit of a break. I had a small break over Christmas and January, and I had some other stuff going on in January, but I probably didn't scrapbook for, I would say, about 4 or 5 weeks. And I know that doesn't sound like a long time, but I scrapbook several times a week. So to go 5 weeks without anything, it felt like a long time, and I felt so rusty getting back into it. And the only thing that helped me get over the hump of, it's just that first little bit of getting over the first like couple of layouts was minimizing my supplies and definitely cutting down on what I was using. So I hope that helps. Another thing is to maybe, if you've got some friends that you can invite over and scrap along with, or if you can carve out a bit of me time so you don't have to worry about the family, or not worry about them, but just have, a couple of hours of me time uninterrupted. You don't have to worry about picking up kids from here or there, or visiting this place or running that errand, but just carve out like 3 hours to yourself. Pop on your favorite binge-worthy show on Netflix or whatever you watch your things on, and just kind of get into the zone rather than 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Just, you got to get that first hump out of the way, and then it gets a lot easier. So then the next question comes from Laura, and Laura said, what do you do when you are having a bad time with your health and your mojo is missing, but you have deadlines to meet? How do you overcome the struggle to carry on working? Oh girl, this is a problem that I have dealt with so much. This is one that hits my heart hard. I have definitely struggled with this over the years, especially when I was working full-time and also YouTubing at the same time. I would get into these ruts where I would just lose all of my mojo, especially when there might have been other stressful things going on, and I had really bad anxiety flare-ups to the point where it was difficult to even go to work some days. And I think that the best thing that I found, everyone is different, but for me what worked was just setting myself tiny goals. So instead of comparing what I used to be able to do, so particularly when I was pregnant with Archie, and I used to be able to film, I used to be able to do a 14-hour live stream. Not so much anymore. But I would be able to scrap for 8 to 10 hours straight. And I couldn't do that pregnant. So I found that just by setting myself a small goal, so, for the next 40 minutes, I'm going to have a bit of time to myself and scrap as much as I can. And if the layout doesn't get done, it doesn't get done. But I know that I have achieved as much as I could in that little 40-minute time slot, and try to not be hard on myself. But it is hard to compare to what you can do on a good day compared to what you can do on a not as good day when you're not feeling your best. I also find that I work best during the day. I used to work best during the night. So maybe have a look at what time of day you feel most productive, or you feel in the least pain if you're dealing with pain illnesses. But just pick a time of day that works best for you, and ask your family members and those around you if they can help you out and give you a little bit of space. But if perhaps it's a day that you need to do grocery shopping, maybe someone else can do the grocery shopping and give you just that little bit of time to find you happy again, and to have some crafty, creative time. It is very tricky. I also find that I really enjoyed the couch scrapping that I did back in February, and that was great for my mojo, because I lost all my mojo in January. January is a hard month for me to deal with my anxiety for a few different reasons, and so January I always find that I'm extremely stressed, and when I'm stressed and anxious, it gives me physical symptoms as well. So I'm not up to my usual, creative mojo goodness. So making the little couch scrapping kit was a godsend in Feb, because it helped me love it again, and it helped me enjoy making stuff and enjoy having some time to create, instead of just worrying about other things, or doing housework or boring things that aren't as fun and enjoyable. So I hope that helps, and I hope you're doing okay. Next up, we have one. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Is it Trina? I think it's Trina. She said, will you still be getting the Citrus Twist Life Crafted kit? And you have hinted at new scrappy things in the works. When can you share the news? So first off, I was going to subscribe to the Life Crafted kit in March because I was on the DT up till Feb, but I had a few financial things that sucked my money away to get the Life Crafted kit and posted out to Australia. I think it's over $50. So I had to save my pennies, but I am planning to subscribe in the next couple of months. And some scrappy things I'm hoping to have. I've been working on a secret project the last couple of months. I'm hoping to have a video announcing that in the next couple of weeks. I also recently bought a silhouette cameo that I've been experimenting with some product things as well. Basically, December, January really wiped me out, and it's taken me quite a while to get back into the swing of things. And I had a lot going on. My mum broke her tailbone and my grandma broke her back in the same week. So lots of hospital things going on, and which has taken up a lot of my extra time that I had set aside for project development and things. So stay tuned. I've got things in the works, but I can't say much yet because there's nothing to show yet. Next up, Natasha, I hope I'm saying that right as well. I'm so bad at names. I'm really sorry, peeps. I think it's Natasha, said, when will you next do a live stream and the vlogs? And when will I visit Belgium? Oh, I wish I could fly to Belgium tomorrow. I could do with a lovely little European holiday. That would be very nice right now. So first up, live stream. I have been trying to get Aaron to test the Patreon only live stream feature. I'm hoping to actually test that tonight. So you might see Aaron pop on for a random 30-second test of a video. Don't worry, you're not missing out on anything. Aaron's just testing how it works because it's different than the YouTube way of doing things. So I'm hoping to actually have a Patreon live stream either at the end of May or the start of June, depending on if we have to do any extra things to make it work, or if it's as easy as we think it could be. And then I was thinking this year, I unfortunately can't do the Inkie June Marathon, which I used to do back on YouTube, which was a video a day. But I am hoping to maybe have a live stream. Don't tell the YouTube peeps yet. This is a bit of a Patreon sneak exclusive gossip, but I'm thinking of having one towards the end of June. I just have to work out, my grandma is turning 90 at the end of June, so I just have to check there's no shindig on for her, because it would probably be that weekend. I'm thinking probably the last weekend or the second last weekend of June. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that one. Also, I would love to do a big tour. I think we'll have to wait until Archie's a little bit older and out of these fun toddler years that we're currently in. Oh boy, peeps, toddlerhood. It's fun. It's yeah, well, that's a whole nother story. That's another tangent for another video. Next up, we've got Tracy, and she said, what inspires you the most, and suggestions to push through a scrappy drought. So similar to what I was saying before, is to minimize the materials that you're searching through in your stash, just to kind of prevent that overwhelm that I get. I know there have to be other people that get overwhelmed by stash. Also, I think it's kind of nice. I'm not endorsing buying things, but sometimes it's nice to just treat yourself to just a little something, like give yourself a little $20 to spend at your local craft store or scrappy store or online store, and treat yourself to maybe a new sticker sheet, a new set of stamps if you love stamps, just a little something that's new. And what you can do is you can combine the new thing with some older things from your stash, and it just makes it so much easier and more enjoyable to use the older stuff if you've got a new treat there as well. I've actually got, because Archie's been sick, this video was delayed in going up, so you've got 2 videos up tonight, an hour's worth of Inkie Quill watching, and the other video is a grab 5 where I used 5 items, of course, because it's a grab 5 Adele. I used 5 things, and one of them was a new chipboard sheet that I had kind of been hoarding and not starting, and the other stuff is all I dug out of the old Inkie Quill craft supplies. There's a planner sticker sheet from 2015 and my very first like wood veneers that I had, and a few little hidden bits and pieces that I had forgotten about. So kind of treat yourself to something small and new and just a little something, and then pair it with some of your older stuff. Put yourself together a little kit, and that can help bring your mojo back a little bit. And find something to binge watch while you're scrapping, or listen to if you're a podcaster, if you like to listen to podcasts. I hope that helps. Hannah asked for more details on couch scrapping, and this was before the couch scrapping video came out. So I'm hoping that video had all of the details. That was back in, I think that video came out in end of March, was it, or early April, one or the other, but I hope that gave you a lot of information. I do want to do that again because I haven't started 2018. What year are we in now? 2019. Oh God, I don't even know what year it is. I haven't started 2019 scrapping yet. Haven't printed a single photo, and we're in May, peeps. But on a good note, I haven't taken as many photos this year as I did last year because one of our cameras died. I usually have one camera for filming for Inkie Quill and Let's Get Inkie, and then the other camera is our vlog camera. So we only had one camera, and we haven't been vlogging as much, so I haven't been taking as many proper good photos. I guess there's a lot of just blurry, bad lighting iPhone photos, so printing isn't going to be too bad. It is still 5 months worth of photos though. But I am thinking once I've finished 2018 scrapping, I'm up to December, so we're getting there. I might do another couch scrapping session for 2019, which is 12 by 12, so it's going to be different. And so I might do another video. If you'd like to see another couch scrapping vid, let me know, and I'll do one in a few months when I'm up to 2019. Then Hannah also asked about how you get your watercolory look. I think the trick to watercolors is the paper that you're working on, the surface that you're working on. I would suggest maybe getting a specific watercolor paper pad. You can actually pick up quite cheap ones at cheap shops, whatever you may call them in your country, $2 shops we call them here. And have a little bit of a play and see if you find that you get a better result with that. The paintbrush doesn't really matter. Well, it doesn't really matter. You can get lovely paintbrushes, but you can also achieve things with cheap paintbrushes. I use mainly cheap ones. I think that the trick with paintbrushes is I use bigger brushes. I find that I get a better look with a wider paintbrush. So if you're using a very skinny one, maybe try a wider one. And also, if you're not happy with how much color is coming off in the watercolor, if you think it's a bit pale, then dry it off and then do another layer over the top. I hope that helps. Let me know if it does. Taryn has asked, with your scrapbook album and PL being in the same binder, do you ever end up with a blank page? Are your layouts chronological or just fillers? That's a really good question, and something that I've been meaning to make a specific video on, because I do get asked this quite a lot. I pre-print all of my photos and put them into the page protectors way before scrapping them so that they're ready. And this means that I never have a blank page, because when I'm putting my photos into the page protectors, I work it out. So if I want to do a layout on this photo, I have a look through the week and see if there's another photo of that week that I want to do a layout of. If there's not, then I'll just put that photo at the end of that week and search through the next week's worth of photos and see if there's a layout that I can do. A couple of times, I would say probably about 5 times, I have moved a photo forward, just a random photo. So it wasn't an event, it was usually just one of the bunnies or one of Archie just being Archie, like just an everyday photo. I have moved it forward a week or 2 so that it didn't have a blank page on the back. It's only happened a couple of times. Usually I can find something to slap on the back and have a layout of it. The layouts are all chronological, and I try to, when I put my photos in the pocket page protectors, I do try to make the start of the week photos at the start of the spread and then finish up with the weekend photos, because I put my weeks Monday to Sunday. I'll leave the weekend photos for the end of the page protectors for that week, if that makes sense. But I will do a specific video on that, because it does take quite a while to figure out what size the photos I want to print, to make sure that I have the right amount of page protectors, and it does take a little while. It's actually my favorite part is not the printing. You guys know how I feel about the printing process. I don't like it. But once the photos are all printed, my favorite part of scrapbooking, more than the actual making, is actually putting all of the photos in the pocket page protectors. It's just satisfying to put them all in there. Also, I'm not talking about my process that I'm doing on the actual video, because it's my usual. I'm using my matte gel medium, my white uni Signo broad gel pen. This is the extra fine white water-based Sharpie paint pen, and a lot of my usual fave products. But if there is anything in the video that is different that I have missed, let me know in the comments and I will address that as well. Some more questions. Renee has said, how did you find time to fit work full-time and get creative? I'm a Monday to Friday working peep. There is just so much I want to do and would love to spend a day in the craft room on the weekend, but then my housework, prep for the week, grocery shopping, hubby time wouldn't get done. I feel guilty if I waste a day or half a day in there. I used to be a night owl, but after dinner and a walk, I just want to shower, sit and veg in front of the TV until bedtime. I don't have kids. Maybe it's my mojo. Maybe I'm just using excuses. Renee, I hear you. After bed, I am done. The other night, I went to bed at 8 o'clock and oh my goodness, it was lovely. It was so good. I'm just done by the end of the day. So I think working full time and even just finding time to scrap normally is hard, because there's always something we could be doing. You know, our lives are so busy. There's always something that could be cleaned up, something that could be organized, planning that needs to be done for the family, for the meals, for life, for paying bills, for everything. And I think that one thing that could help you is maybe to schedule in time to craft, to create. I know it sounds silly, but if you're someone who has like a planner or a diary where you write down what's on each day, if you just allocate and actually write in, craft time or scrapbook time, whatever you want to call it, I think that it will help your mojo a little bit more to know that it's planned, and to know that, kind of validate that it is just as important as unpacking the dishwasher. I know it's a stretch to compare it to unpacking the dishwasher, because that is important too, but I think it's important that we do have our downtime. I really struggled working full time. I was working Monday to Friday, And then with teaching, I was working at night, often until 10:30 at night, planning, marking, assessing, doing data collection, report writing, all this fun stuff that goes along with teaching as a job. And I did find it really difficult to factor in crafty time. But I made a bit of a schedule so that I think for a while it was like every Saturday morning I would spend, it was like 2.5 hours or so on a Saturday morning. I would get up, I would obviously have breakfast, and then put on a load of washing, do the dishwasher and the washing up shindig. And then once that was on, I had 2.5 hours to myself to get stuff done. And once that was up, then I went back and hung out the washing and continue it on with all of those fun housework jobs that we all love so much. And I found that by kind of setting up a routine, it helped, like I said, validate my crafty time as an important part of the weekend as well. So you can maybe see if that works. By the way, this page, oh boy, did I say some not pleasant things out loud while filming this video with this page. We went on a trip here, guys. It was going to be orange, and then I just couldn't do it. And I don't like the way this girl's looking back at me. She just looks disapproving, like she hates this page as much as I do. And yeah, that's just a side note. This page and I were not friends while I was filming this. Back to the questions. I hope that helps. But I totally understand. I used to be a night owl as well. I would often go to bed at like 2:30 in the morning, just to squeeze everything in, and because I enjoyed doing stuff at night. But now I'm exhausted and I can't put the time, like the mental capacity into making creative choices after that time, after dinner. The only thing I can think about is what's going on the TV and where I'm going to sit in the lounge room. That's about it. So I hope that helps. It is tricky, and like I've said in a couple of the previous questions, by putting yourself together maybe a little kit with a more, I would say, curated group of supplies from your stash, you might find that helps as well, because you don't have to spend as much time picking what you're going to use. You know that everything's there in this little box and you're good to go. Maybe that could help. Amanda asked, how and when did you get into mixed media? I've never seen it until watching your videos. Oh, that's exciting. I had never seen it either. I went to a retreat, scrapbook retreat. It would have been in maybe 2016, I would say, or maybe 2015 actually. Yeah, maybe 2015. I went to a scrapbook retreat. It was either my first ever one or my second one, but I didn't really know. No, it was my first ever scrapbook retreat. That's right. And I didn't know a single person there. I have now made some of my bestest scrappy friends from that retreat, which is really nice. But there was a lady there called Lisa Oxley. She has an incredible Instagram, and I think she has a YouTube channel too. And she showed me her art journal, and I fell in love, and I was just inspired to use all of the paint. And there was a shop there at the retreat, so I bought myself an art journal and a few paints. I think that was my first exposure to the Dilutions paints, and I just fell in love. So that's where I found it. And then I looked online. I found Shannon Green is a YouTuber that I love. She just slaps the paint on like there's no tomorrow and makes these fun journal backgrounds. She's the one who created Journaling by Fives. So I found a lot of inspiration from her, and that's where I got it from. Di has asked about white gel pens, and if I could invent a white gel pen that was perfect and worked all the time, I'd be so happy. White gel pens are infuriating, and paint pens, white paint pens especially. But I do believe I heard that the Uniball Signo white gel pens, they changed the recipe and it went dodgy. And I completely agree, because I bought about 4 of them, over the space of a few months, and they were all just terrible. They wouldn't write properly. They just stopped working very quickly. But I think they've changed their formula back, because the last couple that I've bought from the same shop have worked beautifully. I think the trick is to definitely make sure they're dry. Oh, look, I'm using one right now. Definitely make sure what you're writing on is dry. I also use my finger to kind of clean the top of the pen a little bit. I find that helps. But they can be temperamental, but I think they went through a real dodgy patch. So maybe give a new one a try if it's in your budget. I think they're only a few dollars. And give it one more chance and see how you go. And I hope it's better. But they did go through a rough patch. I do agree with that, definitely. Jenna asked, who are some of your favorite YouTubers? Oh, that's so lovely. She said, you've set the bar so high it's hard to watch anyone else. You're too sweet, Jenna. I would say I don't watch too many scrappy YouTubers anymore. I definitely watch Shannon Green. I'll put the names up here, actually, because I have to go to my YouTube and check what their actual YouTube names are. I also love Marissa. I know she's one of my Patreon peeps. And who else do I watch? I don't watch a lot of people. I do watch Missy occasionally, Missy Whidden. I'll put a little list up. That might be the easiest way for me to go through my subscriptions, but I don't watch a lot of scrappy videos anymore. I watch a lot of art journaling videos, which I might put up as well, because I watch a lot of vloggers. That's kind of my main YouTubing now. She also asked, when you film your photo printing video, would you mind describing how you actually sort and organize your photos before printing them? I'm so overwhelmed with photos, with years of digital prints that are all over the place with multiple edited versions, and it's stopping me from doing anything creative. Oh my goodness, it's like I've written the comment myself. When I find a solution to how to store digital photos, I'll let you know. At the moment, mine are spread across several hard drives and definitely repeated. There's multiple edited versions everywhere. So I will talk about that and my struggles with it, and a few solutions that I've found, but I'm still searching. I don't have the perfect answer for that. I will definitely give lots of detailed responses of my printing process though. Galen has said, have you considered doing another class? Yes, I have a junk journal class, which is, it's killing me. I was meant to film the end of it this week, but then Archie got sick. I had designated in my diary that this week was junk journal finishing the class filming week. But of course, instead of 4 work days, or 5 work days actually, because my parents were going to have him one day, I've had one, which is today. So I'm hoping to film that very soon, but I've got a junk journal class. I'm also hoping to do a few mixed media classes as well. I'm hoping to get another 2 classes out this year. That's my goal. We'll see how we go. I also will give you guys over here on Patreon, of course, a discount code that's only for Patreon peeps. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I still have questions to go, but I've run out of time. So I'm going to see if I can do them quickly. Catherine has asked, what are some of the ways that you organize your craft products and area that you found work the best? I'm in the process of setting up a craft room and would love any ideas, suggestions, or tips. Thanks. Oh, hi, Catherine. I saw you at the retreat. Craft organization is something that I would love to do a class on. I would love to dive deeper into that. I think my biggest tip for that is containers within containers, I think helps a lot. And things that you use the most to be right at your fingertips, like on a shelf under your desk or next to your desk, just very, very close that you can reach. I'll tell you what, Catherine, I'm going to pick up your question in my another process video at the end of the month, because I feel like craft organization is a video that we can talk about a lot. And Amy and Arlene also asked questions which I will answer in another process video, because I yammered on too much and I've talked my little heart off. All right, peeps, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was something a bit different. If you've got any other questions that you'd like me to answer, please let me know in the comments, and I will do another bit of a Q&A video very soon. But until then, have a lovely week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.